Live from Bluebet Stadium in Penrith to kick off an action-packed Wednesday night here in the SRL Premiership. It's the 1-3 Penrith Panthers at home to the 3-1 North Queensland Cowboys. Along with SRL Commissioner Lachlan Martin, I'm Logan Strange, joined in the commentary box by Jack Cale, set to take you through this exciting matchup. Jack, the Panthers seem to be one of the form attacking teams at present. The Cowboys defensively one of the best in the league. How do we see this one playing out here tonight?
Look, Logan, I'm very excited for this game. Very excited. I think the Penrith Panthers could do something special here tonight. I'm liking the way they're playing at the moment. Obviously, they broke the winning drought 2 weeks ago against the Parramatta Eels. And they did pretty well against the Manly Sea Eagles. I think that Penrith could win this game. I sense a little bit of an upset here. It's going to be a good game to watch. Say Penrith 1-12.
Penrith 1-12 is Jack's call. The ball is on the tee. Mark Lee set the game to get underway. Referee blows the whistle and we are underway. Wednesday night action in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. It's the Cowboys with their hands on the ball for the first hit up of the game, going right to left in this first 40 minutes. And they'll get their big boys involved. First of all, Mobberston and Chris Lord. Kobe Johnson got a touch as well. I think, Jack, you touched on the Panthers in the intro. One of the big changes we've seen in the last couple of weeks is that move of Nathan Fisher back to the number one jumper. He did play 1 or 2 games back in season 2 from memory. Brodie Kennedy in the halves. From my perspective, he's been one of the big game changers for the Panthers.
Yeah, look, I commentated the game where Penrith first trialled those changes to the team, and I was very skeptical about it, to be honest. I didn't think that Kennedy would work at 6, and I didn't think Fisher would work at 1. But I tell you what, he's been phenomenal, both of them. Kennedy and Fisher have really changed this team's dynamic, and I tell you what, Penrith could go on a bit of a run and maybe push for a spot in the top 4.
That's right, as the Cowboys get through their opening set of the fixture. Panthers looking to make their way out of their own half as Nathan Fisher, as we mentioned him just then, makes a little half break up through the centre of the field. They go to Martin this time, the captain, charging back on the inside, taken down just short of the halfway line. Tackle 4 is one of the halves shaped up to kick early, decided against it. They go to Ash Turner. Final tackle now, just short of the Cowboys 40. Downfield by Kennedy. Hasn't had the best of kicking games over the past couple of weeks, Brodie Kennedy. He'll be looking to sort that out here tonight and really nullify any of these big wingers that the Cowboys have. As Amatangi sets it up centre field, they come near side. Mobberston crushes through the middle and gets the hands free to Hodgson. Cameron Hodgson doesn't quite have the strength or the speed. Taken down about 5 out. 15 metres in from the near touchline. They stay short side to Taylor Maxwell. Got 2 last week. Taken down just short of the line. The Cowboys with a good opportunity in the opening 5.5 minutes. Short to Wallace. Defence comes forward and drives them back in a good tackle. Final tackle now for North Queensland. Back to the pocket is Hodgson. Short ball to Moana. Gets the hands free. Connigan over himself. And the Panthers, well, they're going to get out of jail here.
Wow, I thought Moana was over for sure. I don't know why he offloaded it. If he just fell over the line, he would have got the try. But he offloads it, and Penrith were able to scramble and make the tackle. Moana will be kicking himself.
Not sure if he was really expecting the inside pass from, I think it was Rohan Kaval, and Moana just sort of caught with the ball in hand and didn't realise how close to the line he was. As the Panthers right below us here in the commentary box. A big crowd here this evening, probably the largest crowd we've had at Bluebet Stadium for probably a couple of seasons, Jack. I think there's counting around about 50,000 they're expecting. Clear skies here this evening.
Yeah, well,
it's the mountains.
It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful day for footy, and it's good to see all the Penrith supporters getting out and supporting their team.
Getting off that losing streak, as you mentioned earlier on. I can't remember how many games it was, possibly around about 11 or 12 losses on the trot for Penrith. They're getting that win against the Eels 2 weeks ago, almost beating the Seagulls last week. It was only Manly who got away in the last 20 minutes to deny Penrith their second win on the trot. As Cambolo sets it up. Namana through the middle, always goosies away from Nathan Fisher, taken down just short of the 10, about 12 out, final tackle. They stay left to Moana, gets the kick away. Not a bad kick either. Coming through was Maxwell, but getting up high for it was Robbie Elms. Hands in the air and takes it down AFL style. And the Panthers, they are holding on by the thinnest of margins at the moment.
Yeah, they look very good defensively, Penrith. They're scrambling well, but it's only a matter of time before the Cowboys crack them. Namana just seemed to rush through that the middle part of the field there. Some sloppy defense, maybe offside markers there. But great job there from Robbie Elms to take the kick, and Penrith will be straight back onto the attack.
Robbie Elms, one of the best in the business for kick returns in the SRL. Averaging over 25 metres per kick return at the moment. Tackle 4 here for Penrith, their first attacking opportunity of this game. It's Ash Crutcher to play the ball. Final tackle, they'll have to go back to Kennedy. Gives it to Ollie Pace. Pache puts it high, the big fella. Not a bad kick either. Coming down with it, Isaac Edwards. But Cowboys players all around him. But the Panthers, their first attacking opportunity, and not a bad one either.
Yeah, this game's very tit for tat at the moment. Cowboys had 2 cracks at Penrith's line before. Penrith were good enough to keep them out. And now the Cowboys do the same. It'll be interesting to see who cracks the other team's defensive line first.
2 tries for Ash Crutcher so far this season. Has been one of the dominant halves in the competition. And it's been quite an interesting story at Penrith after Crutcher and Isaac Edwards made their way to the Panthers at the start of the season. Obviously, both coming from the Rabbitohs, known as one of the best pairings in the competition. But Isaac Edwards now finding himself in the centres for the Panthers. Crutcher looking to build a relationship with a new halves partner in Brodie Kennedy. And how have you found that going over the last couple of weeks?
Honestly, like I said, I was very skeptical of it initially. I think Isaac Edwards is an absolutely premier half, but it's worked. I think Isaac Edwards has looked pretty decent in the centers. Obviously, centers don't get too much ball in the SRL, but I think he's looked pretty decent, and his replacement Kennedy has certainly been good.
As Martin finds a bit of a hole on that far side. Had a big run last week, Lachlan Martin. A breakaway 80 metres down the park. Surprised he's got much energy left this week for this one. It's Crutcher, about 27 out. They're going to kick on the final here. It's touched by a Panthers players. Tater Maxwell and Chris Lord complaining to the referee. It was a knock on. It doesn't really matter anyway. Caught on the final. It looks like it was Nathan Fisher possibly just losing control of the ball. Probably not the player who should have been there, as Moana juggles it for a moment and then slips over the sideline. And so a mistake for the Cowboys inside their own half. In fact, it was a Falcon straight off the forehead of Damien Moana. And then sort of maybe like a little bit of concussion, just ran straight to the sideline.
Yeah, well, this game's been in a bit of a holding pattern so far. It's been a grind. Both teams have had their chances. That might just be what Penrith needed to get some first points on the board. It'll be interesting to see how they go about it in this set. I think we could be seeing Penrith points.
Marcus Sarkow and Stace DePace warming up on the bench at the moment. They'll be coming on soon as they go to Edwards. Forward pass adjudged by the referee. And so the second attacking opportunity for the Panthers has gone begging. As they stay left side and straighten it up by Johnston. So Penrith, 2 opportunities in the opening 16 minutes. Cowboys have only had that one at the start of the game as Mobiston drops the shoulder and charges through the defensive line up over the halfway. As they get a quick play the ball inside to Almatangi. Gets through the line and he won't be stopped under the posts. And the Cowboys open the scoring here at Bluebet Stadium.
Wow, Tyler Almatangi, what a great player. He completely bamboozled Nathan Fisher. He's just caught in no man's land, Fisher. And Tyler Almatangi, you give him any room, he'll score a try. It's easy as that for the Cowboys.
4th try of the season for Tyler Amatangi, 8th of his career. He drew one up the table, only one behind Eli Barnes for the season. But the Cowboys strike early against the run of play, you'd have to say, after Penrith have had all the momentum over the past 7 or 8 minutes of this one. Kual converts 6 points to 0 here at Bluebet Stadium.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be very interesting to see how Penrith respond to that. Obviously, they had a lot of ball down the Cowboys' end in this first quarter of play. But the Cowboys, they get a chance, they take it. It'll be interesting to see how Penrith respond.
Game back underway here at Bluebet Stadium. Defensively is where the game is going to be won. We've seen some teams in the SRL have relied heavily on their back lines and that attacking flair at the back, but it really has shown this season that your big forwards and that defensive line is one of the most important aspects of the game. For the Panthers, Mark Lee has been defensively one of the best, 96.8% tackle percentage so far this season, leading the competition for tackles. In fact, he's up there with a couple of his players around him. Luke Malchus, who's defensively very strong, Lachlan Sinclair and Ollie Parche as well. They really have to stay within the Cowboys, or stay with the Cowboys in this first half, as Cavale kicks down to the wing of Marshall Edwards. The rookie brings it back, and he is taken down just short of the Panthers' 30. Edwards to pace to Lee. Number 9 just sets it up centre field, slightly to the left. They come right. Crutcher cut out pass to Parche. Panthers looking to get to their kick as Lee fakes one way, goes to the other. Defensive line reads it well, and in fact they force him back in a good tackle. Short side once again. They like this right edge to the Panthers. They've got Robbie Elms out there waiting for the ball. He won't touch it this time. In fact, they're going to kick through Parche, who forces the Cowboys players back. It's Maxwell in particular who's forced to return the ball this time, and he's taken down in a good tackle by that man, Ash Crutcher. Johnston will play the ball. So they're 23 metres out here inside. They go to Lord. 21 and a half minutes gone. Looks like a couple of interchange bench players have come onto the field. Mentioned earlier on, Jamal Kasakau and Stace de Pace have come on for the Cowboys. Looks like they come on for Callum Irwin and Robbo Mobiston. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, Blair Curtin on debut will be coming on. And Tim Ball has made his way on as well, as Edwards gets another kick return. Again, not able to find any space down that left-hand edge. Coming up against Bunty Cambolo here tonight. One player, Jack, that really had a good season in Season 3 was Bunty Cambolo, a rookie player. Started the same time as Malachi Booth for this Manly Seagulls, but Cambolo hasn't had the explosive season that we saw back in Season 3, and any reasons as to why that could be? Have you kept an eye on him?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I know that he was amazing in Season 3. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he won the Rookie of the Year. But this season, he's been a little bit quiet. It might just be that players aren't kicking to him as much. They've realised he's a threat. Obviously, a lot of wingers score from those big kick return tries, and maybe teams are just figuring him out a bit.
You could be right on that one. 75% defensive effort, only 18 line breaks so far. Only 8 line breaks so far this season, as he tries to get one down there through Amatangi. Here he goes, Bunty Cambolo. Just as I say that, he proves me wrong. He gets around the line and gets the offload to Thomas Wallace as well. Good hands by the big fella. Tackle 4 here for North Queensland. They're inside the Panthers 10. Short ball at the pace. Good defence there from the Panthers. And they hold them out for now. Final tackle as Wallace at dummy half to Moana once again. That's a better kick from Moana. It's coming down right on the try line.
Ooh.
But once again, it's Robbie Elms. Hands up stretched. And he takes it well with defenders all around him. So 26 minutes gone here at Bluebet Stadium. Under 20s game earlier on, it was the Panthers winning that one 20 points to 6 against the Cowboys. A couple of young players in the under 16s coming through. Those young age grades. Do you remember your time back in those age grades, Jack?
Oh, yeah, I do. That's pretty good. It's a pretty fun time. Just free-flowing footy. A lot of errors, though. So it's definitely a step up, the SRL. A big step up.
I actually saw some footage of your earlier playing days early in the week, Jack. Under 12 grade, I believe it was. I think Will Kay was the referee for one of those games. And, you know, I know you're had some good coaches around you back in those age grades. And, you know, you've obviously now progressed into the SRL. And, you know, what are some of the keys? You know, you've got a lot of young rookies coming into the SRL at the moment. You know, have you got any words to those young rookies to see if they can sort of punch their way into the Premiership up from the mines?
Yeah, I'd say the big thing is just consistency. For me, I think my strong suit's my kicking game. So working on that repetitively is always great. And in the SRL, I have a motto for the SRL, especially for backs, and it's speed is key. So if you're looking for something to upgrade as a back, I would go with speed.
Speed is key. Says Jack Carl as the Cowboys get a penalty here. Right out in front, only about 20 metres out from that right-hand upright. Not the way the Panthers would have been hoping to start this one. They're still in contention. Only 30 minutes gone as Caval drills that one straight down between the uprights. 8 points to 0 here at Bluebet Stadium. Coming up 30 minutes gone here, Wednesday night action in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. Speed is key. You heard that from Jack Carl. And what's the key archetype that you would go for if you were an outside back looking to create your player? What archetype would you choose if you were looking to move into maybe a fullback or wing position?
Well, I think I'd go, like I said, speed is key. I think I'd go with Speed Demon. I think that's the key one to go with. And usually, if you're a quick back, especially for the wingers, it usually serves you well.
I think we saw that last season, or not, maybe not last season, season 2, I think it was Damien Moana making his debut for the Warriors, obviously playing in the halves here for the Cowboys tonight. Was a speed demon in season 2 and really showed, especially in that Nines pre-season tournament, how effective that 80 speed skill is. I guess the downside, you know, if you got 80 speed, then you are losing attributes in some areas, and I think the sidestep is the other key position or the key attribute for those wingers and fullbacks, and that's the attribute that you do lose a little bit of if you choose that speed demon though, but definitely key as Caval puts it through, picked up on the bounce was Ash Crutcher. Panthers still in this game, 32 minutes gone. 8 points to 0, the Cowboys out in front, currently sitting third on the Premiership table. A win here would put them on 8 points. Would 8 points be enough to make the top 4?
Oh, yeah, I would be inclined to say it is, but obviously we saw in season 2 and in season 1 that Penrith actually missed the 8 with 8 points, missed the 4 with 8 points. So I would say that it is enough, but it might not be.
It all depends on that run in for the other teams. You got the Rabbitohs and the Warriors who are right behind the Cowboys at the moment. As we see Johnson take it forward, a good hard run by the big number 11. Kicking away, trying to get the quick play the ball as well. Moana darts one way and sharp to the left as Caval cuts through the middle. Hit on by a big tackle by Nathan Fisher. On the 30, he plays the ball. Lord, long pass out to Moana. Can't get away from Ash Turner. A good tackle around the shoulders. Moana looked to be away for a moment there. The pace straightens it up. Palms away from one. Hard to take down. Taken down about 6 or 7 metres out. Final tackle here. The Cowboys looking to strike just before half-time. It's a high kick from Moana. Taken down by Cooper Gronk. Referee has called held. Just as Gronk was going down to put it on the white line, referee calls held. Now, we might hear a little bit more about that one.
I'll tell you what, controversy aside, Penrith have been really good on that bomb defusal tonight. Obviously, Gronk caught that one, but great job to wrap him up. I think he was called held. I think he was called held because he was held, but I don't think there's an issue with that, to be honest. I think that was the right call from the ref.
It was a situation where we had a try that was scored. I think it was in the Season 3 semi-finals, as we see the Panthers have given away pretty poor territory here as the Cowboys have given an intercept try. Sorry, Crutcher, not a try, but Crutcher has plucked the ball out of the air and makes his way down the field. We'll come back to that point that I was making about that referee decision in a second as Blair Curtin takes the ball down centre field. The Panthers with a good opportunity here just before half-time, just over 2 minutes remaining until the break. They come right. Kennedy decides to run it. He can't find his way through. It's Moana who takes him down. They're about 12 metres out. Short side numbers to the left as Edwards chops back on the inside off the left foot. Only about 4 metres out. Tackle 5. Kennedy needs a good kick. It's going to come just but short. Fish on it. And the game has he got the ball down? No, he hasn't. Cowboys come away with it.
Wow. Defense has been the key tonight. Absolutely. Fisher with another chance there to score a try. The Cowboys have looked so solid in defense. And we look at their defensive records. I mean, the Cowboys have only conceded 52 points prior to this game and Penrith 102. I mean, that's almost double the distance. And it's showing tonight. The Cowboys have not given Penrith any opportunities.
Third best in the competition, North Queensland, defensively. I'd say one of those players that stands out to me, and he's probably one of the unsung heroes in the North Queensland Cowboys, is Cooper Gronk. Defensively, very strong, up around that 80-85% mark, which for a centre, I think we'd both agree that that's a pretty good record, considering a lot of the centres do have to mark up against the fullbacks and the wingers returning those kick returns.
Yeah, it's a really good stat. 85% tackle efficiency for a center is absolutely phenomenal, and I think that all the centers around the league should maybe take a few pointers off him because that's some great defense there.
That's the one. Go buy him a coffee as the siren is about to sound here at Bluebet Stadium. It's the Cowboys out in front, 8 points to 0. Welcome back to SRL TV here on a Wednesday night. Thanks for joining us for the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. Half-time here at Bluebet Stadium. It was the Cowboys going into the sheds 8 points to 0 up at the moment. Statistically, the dominant team. But, Jack, they are well and truly in this contest at the moment as the game gets underway. But what do they need to do in the second 40 minutes to get back in the contest on the points board?
Oh, look, I think Penrith would be they'd be relatively happy with that first half. Cowboys are a very good team, and being down only 8-0 is pretty good for Penrith. But I think they just need to take their opportunities, to be honest. They've had more than a few chances down Cowboys' end. They've just not been able to capitalize. I don't know if that's a lack of class from the Panthers or a lot of class from the Cowboys in their defense, but they just need to get on the board, I think.
Kicking early is Kennedy, and it's a poor kick as well. not able to get the distance that he would have been hoping for that first set after half-time. You touched on it just then, the numbers-wise. Statistically, the numbers are against the Panthers at half-time. Defensively, they've let through more tackles. They've had to make more tackles, less line breaks. They really have to turn things around. They're actually lucky to be only down by 8 points. Taylor Amatangi and Kobe Johnston have been dominant in that first half as we see a knock-on by the Cowboys. It was Lachlan Sinclair who came up out of the line really quickly and put the pressure on the Cowboys attack, and that's a good play from the Panthers defensive line to force that mistake.
Yeah, well, the Panthers, they'll breathe a huge sigh of relief there. Cowboys are looking pretty dangerous, and that kick off that first set was not good. So they will breathe a big sigh of relief because that could have been 12, possibly 14 points down.
It was discussed in the SRL 360 podcast during the week, the halves combination of Penrith and maybe the concerns that people have around the kicking of Brodie Kennedy. Obviously, we know how good he is on attack as the Panthers cough up the pill. A big tackle on, I didn't see who it was, but the Cowboys will make their way down the park. And that is another mistake to start the second half that the Panthers will rue.
Penrith are kind of just feeding the Cowboys opportunities here. Cowboys have not started a set in their own half so far in this half. It's pretty disappointing from Penrith. They need to do better than this.
Only 8 points to 0 down at the moment as DePace just charges through the middle. He will not be stopped. He will cross under the posts. And the Cowboys, just like they did in the first half, they will score first in the second. And they extend the lead here at Bluebet Stadium.
Too big and too strong. Stays to pace, getting rid of Mark Lee like a fly on his shoulder. Absolutely smashed him. And he's too big and too strong. Gets over the line. Great stuff there from the Cowboys.
Third try of Stace to Pace's career. Hasn't scored since season 2 in the SRL. So he'll be happy to get back on the scoring sheet. But the Cowboys in general just continue to slowly build and wear down this Panthers lineup. But only 5.5 minutes into the second half, and Panthers cough up possession. Well, they only coughed up possession once, but including that poor kick from Brodie Kennedy, handing territory to the Cowboys. And they concede the first points here today. The home crowd still in behind their side, and we know that comebacks can happen in the SRL, but something needs to happen soon as Relentless picks up a loose carry from, I think it was Casey Namana, and as we see so often, teams giving away possession straight after scoring a try. It's Lachlan Martin driving the legs, hard to take down. Inside the Cowboys zone they go. The Panthers looking for their first points of the game as Ball almost leaves it behind. Lee goes right to Kennedy. Defence is solid on him. Final tackle here is Delaney charging it forward, but nothing real on offer on the final tackle, and the Cowboys will simply get the ball at the handover.
That was a disappointing end to the set there from Penrith. They had a great opportunity there. They started that set in the Cowboys 20, and Delaney just tries to take the line on, and nothing doing there. They needed a better end to the set than that.
We have seen a couple of changes at half-time. We talked about Anthony Delaney in that last passage of play. He's come on for Ash Crutcher, joining Kennedy in that halves pairing, and I'd have to say I'm surprised that Crutcher was taken off. A player that has been running the team for the last couple of weeks, and if anyone, I thought it might have been Kennedy who might have been pulled and then shoved back on later on in the game. Delaney and Kennedy, two players who are, rather inexperienced in the halves. Obviously a call that was made within that Panthers leadership team, and we'll have to see how it plays out. But at the moment, we've got Kennedy, who's really struggling with his kicking, and Delaney, who is caught there on the final tackle. They have to sort that out as Curtin makes a break and then gets the hands free to Kennedy. right underneath us here in the booth as they play it to Curtin. Quick pass to Delaney. A good opportunity here as they line things up. Numbers to the right. They come left. It's a long pass to Martin, but the Cowboys' defence rush up on him and force him back an extra couple of metres. So still a couple of tackles remaining. Quick ball to Edwards. Flat, if anything, could have been called forward. In fact, Chris Lord is having a quiet word to the referee. Play on is the call. And a slow play the ball there from Edwards. Kennedy. And again, another mistake there from the Panthers halves.
Yeah. They need to sort something out there. They're not. This is like they've been getting close to 10 opportunities in the Cowboys 20, and each time they've either thrown the ball forward, they've either taken the line on and just been a handover, or they've dropped the ball cold. I mean, they just need to fix something up.
I feel like Kennedy needs to stand a little bit deeper in the pocket on those final tackles, being a little bit less experienced in the halves. He's played 3.5 seasons at fullback, and to now being thrown into halves, maybe he just needs to push back a little bit, give himself a little bit more time, because at the moment, this Cowboys defence is really rushing up and putting a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I think just take a few steps back and give yourself more time.
As we see another mistake here from the Panthers, coughing up ball inside their own half this time. So things are starting to fall apart, as you'd have to say. 53.5 minutes gone. It's the Cowboys, 14 points to 0 out in front here. Wednesday night action in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. Centre field, the Cowboys are going to play it through Lord, the captain, charging it forward. Trying to get the hands free, kicking to get out of the tackle for a fast one. Kuval, they go long to Moana. He'll just settle it just to the left of the uprights. Tackle 4, 2 remaining for the Cowboys. A good opportunity here as the pace will go close for a second try. He will not get there. He'll play the ball on the line. They'll go back to Namana. Puts it on the toe. Casey Namana sets it up for Moana. Namana to Moana, and it's a try to the Cowboys.
What has happened there? That was a bit of a mess, but they ended up just towing it through, and Moana gets the try, and the Cowboys, wow, that is something special.
It did look like it came off a Panthers leg. Not sure if we're going to get a replay of that. Whether it was going to be 6 again, I'm not sure, but Damien Moana scores his first try of the season. And the Cowboys, well, they continue to extend their lead. The Panthers still yet to score here tonight. As Kuval will make it 4 from 4. 3 converted tries and a penalty. 20 points to 0 here at Bluebet Stadium.
Well, I'll tell you what, Penrith, they did well to keep touch for a little bit. They've been their own worst enemy. And they've really just let the Cowboys extend this lead by a lot. Going into the halftime break, you'd probably say Penrith would have a lot of hope that they could get back into it. It was only 8-0. I think that they're not going to win from here. I think Cowboys are too good, and Penrith, they really need to just try to get something out of this game.
We talked a lot about the impact that Kieran Wells has off the bench, coming on for Thomas Wallace in many circumstances, but Johnny Columbus come on for Cameron Hodgson in the centres here tonight, and he has defensively stood up with Cooper Gronk, and so far the second half, only 3 missed tackles for the Cowboys. So they are continuing to show why they are considered one of the best defensive teams in the competition at the moment, as they put a kick down on the 4th to Nathan Fisher. Does well to get away from the first attempted tackle. Out to the 40 they go. Nathan Fisher's a player that has to stand up. Zen Markwell, we haven't seen much of him so far tonight. Only his 3rd game in the SRL. His ball makes a break, takes a couple of Cowboys players with him. 32 metres out here, centre field. Panthers need to score next, but they need to score in the next couple of sets.
Yeah, time is running out as we enter the final quarter of the game soon. And the Panthers, they I think it would be the biggest comeback if they were able to come back from this one. So they're definitely up against it.
As Malchus plays the ball. So here they go. They get to the kick. Kennedy a little bit better that time, deeper in the pocket. But it's Cambolo who gets up. It was a good kick by Kennedy, coming down right on that try line. But you'd have to say the Panthers chased this time. It just wasn't up to it. The enthusiasm wasn't there. There was a couple of Panthers players around, but Cambolo untested or uncontested above that high ball.
Yeah, you saw Isaac Edwards and Marshall Edwards come through, but they were not really anywhere near the ball. Neither of them really got a good grab at it, so they just didn't jump for it, and Cambolo ends up taking it with ease.
Isaac Edwards, being the senior brother of the two, you'd think he'd just take control and tell Marshall where to go, as the Cowboys have made a mistake here. Losing control of the ball on the far side of the field there. So counting down, 60 minutes gone here at Bluebet Stadium. It's the Panthers still yet to score. The Cowboys winning 20 points to 0. 3 tries to the Cowboys, 2 in the first half, 1 in the second, as Fisher makes a good break. That's better, not what we want to see from Nathan Fisher. Throws the ball away, probably didn't need to. They stay short side this time as Delaney tries to find the markers napping. Going to their big man is Tim Ball. He's had some good runs so far in the second half, but a little bit too deep. Still about 23, 24 metres out as they throw the ball. Back to Curtin, to Delaney. He'll put it high for testing kick for Cambolo once again. Lachlan Martin gets up this time, so that's a better chase from the Panthers. But I'm wondering whether a deep kick would have been better.
Yeah, I think the kick selection there wasn't great, and even if Lachlan did catch it, nothing happened with it. And again, Penrith just not really throwing much at the Cowboys. It's a bit repetitive for the Panthers.
We don't seem to see enough grubber kicks in Rugby League Live 4. It's one aspect of the game I'd love to see more of. And I know that you're working hard behind the scenes, Jack, with this overhaul Rugby League Live mod. And, we've talked briefly off air about what you can and can't do with the game. But is there any way we can adjust the kicking within Rugby League Live 4?
Well, yeah, actually, that is one of the options. Kick likeliness, I guess, is a way to put it. So yeah, I'll definitely tinker with that, and I think we're gonna have a great product in the SRL Season 5 alongside the overhaul.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in behind the scenes. I know a lot of people are excited and looking forward to seeing how this overhaul takes place and what it will bring for the SRL. We've already seen a taste of some of the uniforms and the jerseys that will be introduced in Season 5, and obviously some of the graphics that we're already seeing here on the stream on SRL TV. But, we might be able to tinker with some of the behind-the-scene, actual how the AI plays.
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility. I haven't played with it too much, but I know that the current SRL commissioner, Lachlan Martin, has a bit, and I definitely know it's possible to make this AI work a lot better. Obviously, the base game AI is a little bit sketchy, but yeah, I think that it'll definitely be a possibility.
Oh, good on you, Jack. Really appreciate the work that you're putting into this. And, the way the SRL is being run at the moment is absolutely incredible. We're seeing all these new players coming in, and luckily we've got an extra team coming in for Season 5. The Newcastle Knights obviously announced a couple of days ago as the 9th team in the competition. And combined with, the Rugby League Live 4 overhaul mod that you're working on, it's quite an exciting era that we could be moving into seasons coming. So 66 minutes gone here at Bluebet Stadium. The Panthers still unable to make a dent in this Cowboys defensive line at the moment. The Cowboys just continuing to wear down the Panthers. They look likely to take the points at the moment. It's Almatangi at an explosive first half, hasn't been as involved in the second 40. Moana kicks to the wing of Marshall Edwards. Tell you, Robbie Elms, haven't seen much of him so far tonight.
Yeah, well, the only time I can think of seeing him is he's diffused. Diffused a few kicks from the Cowboys, but other than that, he's been very quiet. He hasn't gotten himself involved very much, and I think Penrith are missing him a little bit.
Definitely seems like the AI are kicking to the weaker of the two wingers. You know, Zen Markwell and Marshall Edwards are less experienced than Robbie Elms, and I wonder whether sometimes the AI does kick to the weaker winger because Robbie Elms, you know, is lethal on those kick returns, and I'm sure, you know, Lachlan Martin will be looking at this and trying to reposition Robbie to get his hands on the ball more.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's both wingers pretty damn good quality. I mean, Marshall Edwards is obviously a rookie this season. I think he's gunning for rookie of the season. Um, but yeah, he definitely is the weaker option, and I'm not sure what else you can do with Elms to get him more involved. I think it's just tough luck.
You're right about Marshall Edwards, one of the standout players in the Season 3 Mines competition. Picked up first in the Season 4 draft. And definitely finding his position here at the Panthers for Season 4 on the left wing. The Cowboys continue to punch their way into this Panthers defensive line. Kicking now is Kavar once again to the wing of Marshall Edwards. Has a bit of time to wind up this time. Gets away from one. Had one of his, looks like it was Nathan Fisher, just on the inside. Decided to hold on to it. It's probably a good decision in hindsight. Had a couple of Cowboys players who probably would have got their hands to it. A good return from Edwards as Crutcher. He's back on the field. Looks like he's moved into the front row. Ash Crutcher and Cameron Relentless. Tell you what, that's one of the smallest front rows I've seen in the history of rugby league.
Yeah, it is a very small forward pack. Ash Crush, obviously, coming on just about 10 minutes ago. He's a very small guy. I'm surprised why Martin put him, the skipper Martin put him in the prop. That's a shocking kick.
We've heard that before. It's been it's the kicking game for the Panthers. It really is settling them down at the moment, and it's they've got the win behind them in the second half, Jack, and they're just not able to adapt to it, are they?
Yeah, no, I think they've really got to look at their halves pairing. I don't think bringing Ash Crutcher off, to my point about Crutcher before, I don't think bringing Ash Crutcher off was the right idea. I think that the little kicking game that they do have, Crutcher provides, and I just don't know if Delaney's up to it.
That's the thing with the SRL. You know, you have to experiment with players and positions. And I think that's the unique opportunity we've got here as captains, is we can move around the players within those three positions they're assigned to. And I think that brings, you know, a massive element to the SRL and that coaching ability. As the Panthers, they go right side. Markwell will take it. They got an opportunity here. Still 6.5 minutes remaining. A late comeback is on the cards, possibly, if they can score here. You have to say it would be, like you said earlier, one of the biggest comebacks of all time. Elms at dummy half. Luke Malchus and a knock-on from the big fella. Just couldn't control the ball. It was a short bullet pass that hit Malchus in the chest. He fumbled it for a moment, then eventually fell into the hands of one of the Cowboys players who knocked on as well. No advantage. The Cowboys get the ball.
Yeah, well, Malchus obviously wasn't happy with everyone else's kicking game, so he put his hand up and tried to put a kick in, but he wasn't much better. I think Lachlan Martin, we're having a few words with him about his kicking license.
So the Panthers coming up over the next couple of weeks. We've got some big games on the cards as we look at the games coming up over the next few weeks. Good run up the side there from Wallace. Moana kicks again, coming to this near side. It's Marshall Edwards to return. Gets it away from the first tackle. Once again, it's taken down just outside the 20. So the Panthers coming up. They will take on... Well, they've got a relatively difficult end to the season. They've got the Auckland Warriors in New Zealand next week, and then coming up against the Broncos in week 7. So a win here really was crucial for the Panthers, because they'll be looking to... They would have seen that Warriors and that Broncos games as possible wins. You know, tonight was always going to be an unlikely win coming up against the Cowboys, but they really just haven't been able to get any sort of ascendancy throughout the 80 minutes of play so far.
Yeah, and on their end of the season, I think they'll find it tough. I think they might even look the Warriors game. I think they'll lose. It'll be close, but I think they'll lose the Warriors game. Warriors are hungry for a spot in the top 4 after narrowly missing last season. And the Broncos, I think they'll be hungry to avoid the spoon. That game genuinely could decide if the Broncos get the spoon or not. So I think Penrith will get one more win. I think they'll beat the Broncos, but if they wanted any chance of making finals, they needed to win tonight.
Moana puts the kick in. Aomatangi collects it, and Aomatangi will score. Too easy, cuts back on the inside of Fisher, and the Cowboys will end with a bang. They have been absolute class here tonight. It was Moana to Aomatangi. We've said it so many times over the past couple of seasons, and Aomatangi is hitting form at the right time of the season. The Cowboys will take on the Raiders next week in Townsville, which will be one of the games of the season to date. But they will end tonight's game with a try. Kaval will convert this, you'd have to say, pretty much from right out at front. Makes it 5 from 5, 26 points to 0. And Jack, that has just been a little bit too hard for the Panthers to get a hold of this one.
Yeah, well, I think that try actually just summarizes the night, to be honest. I think that we saw the Panthers really struggle with their halves pairing and their kicking, but that was just absolutely quality. Little kick from Moana out to Aomatangi, and it's too easy for the Cowboys. I think that's the difference tonight, their kicking game.
Yeah, you could even see Moana just talking to Aomatangi during that previous play the ball. Aomatangi knew exactly what was going to happen. The Panthers' defensive players caught up. The siren sounds here at Bluebet Stadium. The Cowboys take the win, and they get their 4th win of the season, one step closer to wrapping up their finals berth for the 2nd season in a row. While the Panthers, well, their finals hopes take a massive dent, and you'd have to say they will be relying on other games to go their way if they have any chance in making finals footy for the first time in the SRL. 26 points to 0, 4 tries to 0. Aomatangi crossed for 2. Stacey Pace grabbed a spectacular one in the opening first few minutes of the second half. And then Damien Moana right on the stroke of full time. Jack, a dominant display from the Cowboys. They controlled the game well in the halves. And we've talked about it so many times. We're not going to keep talking about it, but it was the total opposite for the Panthers.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And it's just a big class divide. I think the Cowboys, they've been going at it all season. They've been very good for most of it. And it's the defense. It's the defense and the kicking game. Obviously, the Cowboys now on 52 points still conceded after holding the Penrith Panthers to the donut. Whereas the Panthers, they go to 128 points conceded, which is just not good enough in this league.
Kaval and Moana continue to lead from the front for the Cowboys. Chris Lord had another good game. Cambolo, after we talked earlier how he's had a quiet season, ran for 142 metres, probably his best performance so far this season. Kobe Johnston, consistent and, as always, the former Parramatta Eels skipper. And then as we look at the Panthers stats, was Mark Lee, again, always one of the best defensive players in the competition. Lachlan Martin, the captain, looking to lead from the front. Kicking-wise, Brodie Kennedy kicked for 267 metres. But yeah, a few errors there 3 errors for Brodie Kennedy, 2 for Lachlan Martin. Yeah, just things to work on for the Panthers. But, you know, their season is not over. Like I said, they've got the Warriors next week in Auckland, the Broncos the following week. They are still well within a chance to make the finals. The Cowboys, like I said, they will take on the Canberra Raiders in round 6. And then they will finish the season the following week against the Parramatta Eels. But Jack, I'll leave it to you for the final word.
Yeah, well, I think on your point there, Penrith will be wishing that some other teams around them lose some games. They're gonna need it. I think they're done for the year, but I like that you have just a tiny bit of faith left in them. Yeah, it'll be tough for Penrith to make it from here.
Cheers, Jack. Good to be in the booth with you tonight. See you next week.
You too.